To Niger, and why France is so particular about Niger. Francisco, welcome back.
Thank you.
Good. Tell me, why is France so particular about Niger?
Yes, this is a special, you know, as you have explained, France's importance in the world is a little bit dependent from their influence on other countries and their former colonies, that what they call the French community, especially in Africa, are a little bit the backbone of this influence. No, they are member of the Security Council in the United Nations. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like UK, no? In economic power, in military power, there are countries more important than France, but they believe that remaining with strong ties to the Francophone, to the African countries, gives them some authority in the world to rule the world with others, especially in the G7 and G20, but also in the UN. But Niger has a special importance for the power production in France is based on atomic plants, and they need the mineral uranium to produce this power. I think 60 or 70% of their power production are based on atomic plants. Something, for example, Germany has now wiped out since a couple of months. So Germany don't need these minerals. But it's also strategic importance in the Sahel after the coup d'etat in Mali and Burkina and also Guinea-Conakry as well, which has reduced the influence of France. So Niger was a little bit the hub for the European Union, for the US, to believe that with having influence to the Niger government, they can bring something like stability in the whole region and reduce conflicts, and especially to that their interests remain in the region. Now, with the coup d'etat, they are in danger to lose more of their influence to the continent.
I don't subscribe to violence in any form of it as far as development is concerned, and I'm sure you also do not subscribe to violence or anything that will topple a democratically elected administration anywhere in the world. But there's a school of thought that says that the Sahel actually staging coup d'etats would reduce the influence, as you rightly put it, reduce the influence of France. And as soon as they are able to reduce the influence of France in their various countries, they will be able to put together their natural resources, either to export or whatever, to be able to develop their space. Do you share that opinion?
If I understood you well, you believe that this reduction of France's influence in the economies of those countries which have now lost their democratic legitimacy, that this would lead to a better economic development as they have more influence on what they export, how they export, and which value they would get from this export. Was this the question?
Yes, I was just only trying to find out if they're trying to reduce the influence of France in the Sahel would actually help them to develop.
Yes, I think you should not overestimate the France influence to the economic development. There are also other players, no? I think the problem is that whatever government ever has ruled in most West African countries, look also to your countries, the economic model your governments have chosen is a copy of the models we had, with one difference, that whenever Germany or Europe has brought your raw materials to Europe, they have given them an added value on industry, on processing. And then with these goods, we have also sometimes even brought back to your countries more added value products. And Africa mostly, look, if it is cotton, if it is coffee, coffee beans, cocoa beans, if it is gold, if it is whatever you are exporting are raw materials. 80% of the added value is done in Europe, in the US, even in China. No, so you are selling your fortune, your wealthy situation to others that they can produce and add value. So if you want to get a part of a share of this value, look, cotton or cocoa, no, you have to produce chocolate or textiles from that. And then you can export it to a higher value, and the income for your governments, for your people, for your farmers will be 4 or 6 times higher. And this, if this economic model doesn't change, whatever government, if these are militaries or democratic people and governments like in Ghana, it will not really change your economic living situation. And that's the more important than always to blame France and others that they are influencing you. You are independent countries, and you can really, if your governments are really influenced by your people, you can change this economic model to sell all what you have only as raw materials.
No, Francisco, are you suggesting that democratically elected leaders in Africa always have been influenced by Western powers?
Yes, for sure, because everybody is defending their interests, and the way of living in Europe, the quality and the income is enormously higher than Africa, but it is based on the raw materials we are taking away from Africa. Not since yesterday, it's since 2 or 3 or even 4 centuries. So whoever is ruling a country, better it would be like in your country, democratic, they have to take into account and reduce this way of economic model. Then influence can't be as much if you have your own factories, let's say for chocolate, no, and you are not exporting cocoa. And then we have to buy to a very high price the chocolate for our consumption. Then we have to pay for. And your farmers have more income, and your government has more tax incomes. But Europe has also influenced you by legal trade agreements, for example. Ghana, no, they have an economic partnership agreement where your government agreed not to improve and to increase your taxes, export taxes, for example, for raw materials. This is a way to reduce the export of raw materials. If you say only if you export your cocoa without processing, then those importers in euros have to pay more taxes if they export as a chocolate bar. So it's up to your governments to reduce this influence by taking more added value production of your raw materials to change this economic model that we can take all for low price. Look to your fossil energies. No, Ghana is exporting crude oil. No, but you are importing for a higher price fuels.
Mm-hmm.
Why you are not processing your own oil to fuels? You know, Nigeria the same. Nigeria is really shaming. No, the largest oil producer in Africa, with Angola, are getting less for their oil, buying in Rotterdam diesel and all the fuels back. So the same ship coming with Nigerian or Ghanaian oil is coming back with a higher price of your fuels. This is an example what is really an economic absurdity. You know, this is not an economic model, and this, for sure, there is influence for, but your government is democratically elected. They have the power to say no to this influence.